Nathan Beats.
What's up, guys? This your boy, Mr. I-240. I'm back with another episode today. Y'all, I just want to say, man, I want to give thanks to the Lord Jesus Christ, the Heavenly Father. If it weren't for Him, it wouldn't be no me, it wouldn't be no page, it wouldn't be no y'all. You know what I'm saying? And the reason, I feel like this episode has on my mind because we all go through tragedies, and we all feel at the top. We all feel that we bigger and greater than no other. You know what I'm saying? But I know sometimes life can humble us and bring it to our lower self, and learn how to become a better person. Should learn how to become a better man. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like with the person I'm talking about, of course, he always had everything, the looks, all that, football, bodybuilding, all that. You know what I'm saying? The muscles and all that, and the glare of the fame and story. But at the same time, he went through tragedy. And I feel like he became a better person from outside looking in, and he got humble himself. And the man that I'm talking about is Lex Luger, the total package. You know what I'm saying? If you're new to the page, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button. You know what I'm saying? And hey man, if you messed up in life, it's okay to say it's your fault, man. You know what I'm saying? And become a better person, dog. You know what I'm saying? You ain't a bad person, man. We all done made mistakes. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you gotta ask yourself, did you learn from it? You feel me? Did you learn from it? Because you know what I'm saying? Because it might be a time that you hurt somebody or somebody hurt you. You know what I'm saying? And you as a man gotta stand on all 10 and shit. Take accountability for that. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's business, friendship, relationship, you know what I'm saying? Mama, daddy, whoever. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stand on all 10, take accountability, and become a better person. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, look in this episode. NWA 1985-1987. In 1985, Luger walked into Championship Wrestling from Florida office where he met Hiro Mazadu, who were previously trained Hulk Hogan and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Luger adopted his ring name Lex Luger, being a fan of the comic book Lex Luthor, which helped. There we go. Which helped Luger cast himself as a typical wrestling heel, which he continued to be throughout most of the early years of wrestling. Luger made his in-ring debut in September 1985, where he was featured alongside of Notorious heel Percy Pringle and Rick Rude. Luger began wrestling for CWF, gaining his first victory on October 31st, 1985 against Coco Samoa, and later won the Southern Heavyweight Championship from Wahoo McDaniel. The next month, for a short period of time, he feuded with Barry Windham before Luger turned face and began teaming up with Sir Oliver Humperdinck and his team of Ed the Bull Garner, Kareem Muhammad, and the White Ninja on September 1st. He fought the NWA World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair for the title, the Battle of the Belts 3, which resulted in a 60-minute draw as a result. Flair retained. Towards the end of the run in Florida, Luger was involved in anger with Kevin Sullivan, Bad News Allen. He was also in the steel cage match with Bruiser Brody, with Brody stopped corroborating, leading to Luger climb over the cage and leaving the match. Jim Krieger Promotions World Championship Wrestling from 1987 to 1992. In 1987, Luger went to work for Jim Krieger Promotions, which was under the NWA banner with the nickname the Total Package. Began using the Human Torture Rack and Argentine Backbreaker Rack as his finisher. He then turned heel upon arrival in JCP and was first booked as an associate to Ric Flair, Four Horsemen stable until Orley Anderson was kicked out of. He became an official member of the group. His first big feud was Nikita Koloff, whom he defeated for the NWA United States Heavyweight Championship on July 11 in 1987. Manager J.J. Dillon threw a chair over the top of the cage and the referee Earl Hebner was down. Luger knocked Koloff off unconscious with it and then lifted Koloff off in the torture rack. A revived Hebner then dropped Koloff arms 3 times with no response, and Luger a submission victory. It was during the time that the Four Horsemen debuted at War Games. He held until JCP first pay-per-view Starrcade in November, when he dropped it to Dusty Rhodes in a steel cage. This loss set the stage for Luger leaving the Four Horsemen. As manager, Dillon interfered and caused Luger the match. A steel chair thrown in by Dillon was dropped by Luger, who had turned face again. Wow, yeah, Dusty Rhodes had DDT on the chair prior to the win. Luger left the Four Horsemen and then turned face again on December 2nd, 1987 at the Knights Center in Miami, Florida, after he and his stablemates Tully Blanchard and R. Anderson and Dillon were the sole wrestlers left in the bunkhouse Stampede Brawl, and Dillon asked the other wrestlers to eliminate themselves so he could win. Although Blanchard and Anderson complied, Luger refused and eliminated Dillon, leaving the Horsemen in the process. Luger then befriended Barry Windham, his former ally. Together, they form a team dubbed as the Twin Towers. First match was on February 3rd, 1988 at a TV taping at Clash of Champions 1. They defeated Tully Blanchard and R. Anderson for the NWA Tag Team Championship. Only a few weeks later, after the win, Barry Windham suddenly turned on Luger during the title defense against Blanchard and Anderson, who regained their titles and joined Luger former stable. The Four Horsemen days later, the Jim Crockett 4 days later, the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup at the Tag Team Tournament was held, with his first in Greenville, South Carolina. Partnerless, Luger was teamed with Sting, whom partner Ronnie Garvin had been injured. The impromptu team won the entire tournament, defeating Blanchard and Anderson in the finals. Luger continued his feud with the Four Horsemen and Windham at the June Clash of Champions 2 Miami Mayhem. It was announced that Luger would challenge leader Ric Flair for the NWA Heavyweight Championship at the Great American Bash on July 10th in Baltimore. As Luger arrived at the Clash in the limousine, he was attacked by the Four Horsemen, leaving him injured and bleeding in the parking lot on television. While Luger had Flair in the torture rack. Bleeding. Okay. While Luger had Flair in the torture rack, Flair was about to submit, but the match was abruptly stopped by the referee, who cited kayfabe Maryland State Athletic Commission rules about a cut that had been opened on Luger's forehead, bleeding excessively. In 1988, Jim Crockett Jr. sold to Ted Turner TBS. Ultimate Promotion was renamed WCW World Championship Wrestling. The feud with Flair had come to an end in December 1988. True Grit, where Flair pinned Luger in a rematch on the main event for the NWA title, illegally using the ropes. Okay. 1989-1990. United States Heavyweight Champion. He was then matched up with old foe Barry Windham at Showtime Rumble, winning his second NWA Heavyweight Championship. He teamed up with Michael P. Hayes against Barry and Kendall Windham on a televised match at March 18, 1989, which saw Hayes turn on Luger, setting himself up for a #1 contender for the U.S. title. Hayes had defeated Lex Luger at Wrestle War 1989 Music Showdown, when a surprise appearance by Hayes' ex-Freebird Terry Gordy. Is that the dude that beat up Sting back in the day? Y'all let me know. He helped cost Luger the match. Luger regained the U.S. title from Hayes in a rematch, and a couple of weeks later, when he broke the rules by pulling Michael Hayes' tights, pinning Hayes to win the match. On June 14th, Clash of Champions, Guts and Glory, Luger attacked the popular Ricky Dragon Steamboat and defeated Terry Funk by disqualification. Steamboat defeated Terry Funk by disqualification, causing Luger the heel run. Luger and Steamboat faced each other at the Great American Bash in July, with Luger winning by disqualification after Luger refused to wrestle Steamboat until the match was done. No disqualification cause was waived. Second, y'all. Alright. Flying Brian Pillman had challenged Luger at Halloween Havoc 1989, selling the score for the U.S. title, which Luger won. He also defeated Pillman in a rematch on November 15th, Clash of Champions, New York Knockout, to retain the title and ended the feud. After the main event of the card, which saw Ric Flair and Terry Funk in an I Quit match, Luger made a surprise running attacking both Flair and Sting, who had come out to save Flair from a post-match attack by the Great Muta. December Starrcade featured an Iron Man tournament between Flair, Sting, and Luger and Muta. Though Sting eventually won the tournament, Luger was the only participant to go undefeated. Sting got a pinfall victory over Muta and Flair, giving him the most points to win the tournament. This elevated Sting's status to the #1 contender for Flair world title, with Sting and Flair set to square off at Wrestle War. In February, Luger was booked to defend his United States title against Dr. Steve Williams on the card. A legit injury to Sting, however, caused the entire booking to get changed. So Luger was elevated to face Flair for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. An injured Sting appeared in Luger's corner during the match, eventually being attacked by Oil and Arn Anderson. When Luger left the ring to help Sting, he was counted out, giving the match to Flair. The idea here was to build Luger up as a changed man who had gained self-respect by saving Sting. In another face turn. In the final match of the feud a few months later at Capital Combat event, Luger won by disqualification against Flair in the steel cage when the cage rose up from the ground and the outside interference by the Four Horsemen in the match. But Luger eventually dropped the U.S. title to Stan Hansen at Halloween Heavy, though he won it back at Starrcade 1990 Collision, of course, beginning his fourth NWA United States Heavyweight Championship. Luger's third title reign lasted 523 days. You know what I'm saying? That's impressive. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the mid-card title, making him the longest reigning U.S. champion in history, probably at that time. I need to look that up. During this reign, WCW rebranded the championship they owned and controlled. The title was renamed the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. Luger started a feud with Dan Spivey, whom he defeated at Wrestle War to retain the U.S. title. Following the title, Nikita Koloff was due to present a championship belt to Luger, but during the ceremony, he suddenly attacked the champion, reigniting a feud from 1987. It did not last long, however, as Nikolov found himself being pushed into an angle with Sting instead of Luger, which began in Super Bowl I, the return of the Rising Sun, when Sting and Luger challenged the Steiner brothers for the WCW Tag Team titles. During the match, Koloff interfered and hit Sting with a chain, which was intended for Luger. 1991-1996. Luger again challenged Ric Flair for the WCW World Championship after becoming the #1 contender, defeating the Great Muta on June 14, 1991. The Clash of Champions. Knoxville, USA. Luger title match against Flair was set to be contested in the Great American Bash and a steel cage match. We added the stipulation that should Flair get disqualified, he would lose the title. The match never occurred, however, as Flair began having a disagreement with Jim Herd, the head of WCW. I guess when Flair left for WWE over his future and his salary, and eventually quit the company. And he was stripped of the title. And hell, he took the title with him to WWE. There we go. With WCW Worldwide Championship now vacated, Barry Windham was declared the #2 contender and was set to face Luger in the cage match at the Great American Bash. During the match, Harley Race and Mr. Hughes came to ringside. While Hughes kept Windham attention, Race told Luger now is the time to perform a power driver and distracted Windham. Luger did so and won the match, thereby winning his first WCW World Heavyweight Championship. So I guess he was a heel again. Resulting in a double turn where Luger turned heel and enlisted Race as his manager, while heel turned face Barry Windham. As Flair said, the original championship belt, the new belt was not ready in time, where Luger initially wore the NWA Western States Heritage Championship belt, which had been altered resembled for the world title. After Luger won the world title, his first major challenge was against Ron Simmons at a signing ceremony for their match at Halloween Havoc in the 2 out of 3 falls. There was a controversial angle where Luger invited Simmons once the challenge had been turned back to join his entourage, but as a chauffeur. Luger went on to retain the championship in the match by 2 falls to 1. Eventually, Luger began having his own issues with WCW. The contract he had had to have him wrestle less dates and while still collecting money. After the end of his feud with Simmons, he had a brief feud with Rick Steiner, defeating him on November 19th at the Clash of Champions. Luger contract only required him to work a specific number of days. Having fulfilled them, he sat out the end of 1991, beginning of 1992, aside of one title defense against Chono at WCW versus New Japan. You know what I'm saying? Back in the they used to collaborate. You know what I'm saying, for a minute in the Super Show 2, Starrcade and Tokyo Dome. Luger did not wrestle a match until Super Brawl 2, where he lost the WCW title to Sting. Damn. Then he became a bodybuilder. After losing to Sting at Super Brawl, Luger negotiated a departure from WCW, where he joined Vince McMahon Wrestling and Body Federation. This one, Luger really wanted to be a bodybuilder more instead of a professional wrestler. You know what I'm saying? So, he joined Vince, apparently a regular co-host on his Saturday morning program, WBF Body Stars. He also made an appearance at WrestleMania. I don't know if there's 6, 7, 8, I don't know, but it don't matter. Taking a part in her interview with Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon. Heenan and Luger formed an alliance in WBF, similar to Heenan alliance with Ric Flair. He was slated to guest pose at the WBF pay-per-view event, but was injured in a motorcycle accident. Well, by the time he be recovered, Vince McMahon Body Federation was out of professional. I was out of business. So, right here, his WWF run 93 from 95. After his accident, the closure of WBF, Luger joined the World Wrestling Federation. Bobby Heenan unveiled him with the persona of the Narcissist. At the 1993 Royal Rumble shortly after, his name was altered slightly to the Narcissist. Luger posed before a full-length mirror before every match. In his televised in-ring debut, he defeated Larry London on February 13th episode Superstar. The WWF also incorporated his motorcycle accident into his gimmick, capitalizing on the fact that he had a metal plate inserted on his forearm, which he used the forearm. I think that was the special. I don't think he was doing the torture rack in WWE. It was the forearm thing, which was said to cause more damage and struck his opponent, allowing Luger to pin them with only his little finger placed on the chest. This caused a number of his opponents to demand that he wear a cover over it. During the match, he had a streak of knocking people out. This eventually led to WWF officials demanding Luger wear an elbow pad, though he would remove it. Of course, he was a heel. And his little heel run was short too, you know what I'm saying? So, the Narcissist one major feud was with Mr. Perfect was based on Heenan, his advisor, referring to being beyond perfection, and it was a jab at Mr. Perfect. His former manager claimed the rivalry ended at WrestleMania 9 when Luger defeated Perfect, and then after the match, Perfect ran backstage and attacked Luger. But then he was attacked by Luger and Shawn Michaels, so they began the feud with Shawn Michaels and Mr. Perfect outside the storage garage following the event. Then Luger defeated Bob Backlund in a countout for a King of the Ring qualifying match, where he wrestled to Tonka, and they both lost in the opening round in the countout because they didn't want to kill the, because the Takana had an undefeated streak and Luger was Luger, so they didn't want to kill the Indian man push. But I think he lost to Shawn Michaels, or they had a DQ or something. I'm not sure. I know Takana had wrestled Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, and I know his streak ended in '93 that year against Luke V. Boga, whatever dude name, crazy dude name, but Luke V. Boga. There you go. I see it right here. So the American All-American. So this one Hogan had left, and Vince needed a big time baby face. And he chose Luger, and they had the Lexus press. They were pushing Lex Luger to the max, but the streets weren't feeling it. Let's get it. In the mid 1993, after Hogan's departure from the company, Luger was transferred into a fan favorite with the nicknames of Made in American, the All-American, also the American Original. On July 4th, he took a part in where he arrived at the helicopter on the deck of USS Enterprise and body slam near 600-pound Yokozuna. So I saw the clip the other day with I guess when Luger was interviewing Chris Van, and he told Yoko, I said, "Hey man, I can't do it." And Yoko like, "All right, you get some space and I do the rest." And I think Luger had said Yokozuna had slammed himself. So he slammed the WWE World Heavyweight Champion after a number of wrestlers who tried, and athletes and ball players, but they all failed. Following this, he began the Lex Express tour, traveling from countries in the red, white, and blue painted van and greeted fans, perpetrating with him getting his shot at his only shot at the WWF World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam in 1993. The match was held. The match had the stipulation that this would be Luger's only shot at the title, because y'all gonna see him as a threat. Luger, with the metal plate in his forearm, eventually won the match by knocking out Yokozuna, but he failed to return to the ring at the 10 count. So the WWF the title can only change hands by submission or pinfall. So Yoko kept the belt, but according to Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon didn't give the title to Luger despite his push, because Luger wasn't getting over with the audience as expected. He wasn't brave. Sorry. For me. But in 1993, Luger began a feud with Luke V. Borger, another anti-American foreigner from which y'all gotta watch Luke V. Borger, man. That man was racist as hell, cuz. Real talk, man. Watch the episode, bro. For real. Like, he was racist. Like, he had racist tattoo on his leg and everything. Like, and he was getting that push, but Vince was like, hell nah, we have to put that dude over. That ain't it. Trash, no. But Luger began a feud with Luke Vic Borger, an American foreigner from Finland at Survivor Series 1993. Luger could captain a team dub All-Star with Luger, The Undertaker. You know, they were y'all remember the promo with Undertaker? He said he didn't even like that promo. Now that I look back at it, he did the little thing with the jacket. Yeah, that promo was cringy and it was weird because he was supposed to be a dead guy. That looked trash. No, so I'm with the dead man. No. So Undertaker and the Steiner brothers against Yoko team were the Foreign Fanatics, where it was Crush. I think Crush was feuding with starting to feud with Macho Man Randy Savage at the time. Yeah. Yokozuna, Luke Vic Borger, and the Quebecers Jacques. And they formed for a Survivor Series match. Luger team won after he pinned Borger. So at the Royal Rumble, Luger participated in the Royal Medal match where he and Bret Hart was declared the winners. Cause you know Bret Hart had got betrayed by Owen Hart that night. You know what I'm saying? And Luger, like I said, was still getting pushed, but he won Bret Hart. So after both men went over the top rope and had their feet hit the ground simultaneously. Damn, I'm surprised I could say that word. But as such, both received title shots at the WWF World Heavyweight Championship, where Luger was disqualified. Because, you know, Mr. Perfect was the special guest referee in the match, but they were supposed to do a feud, but, you know what I'm saying, he got hurt. Well, Luger was disqualified, becoming the first man to win the Royal Rumble, but not win their title match. Later that night, Bret Hart had won from Yokozuna. After WrestleMania 10, Luger was supposed to start another feud with Mr. Perfect, but Mr. Perfect got hurt, and Luger instead started feuding with Crush. Luger then began feuding with his friend Tatanka due to a lack of trust between them. A match between the two took place at SummerSlam. At the event, Tatanka defeated Lex Luger and then joined Ted DiBiase. You know what I'm saying? Joined Ted DiBiase Corporation. At Survivor Series, he was in the Survivor Series team Guts and Glory himself, Mabel, Adam Bomb, and the Smoking Guns, losing to the Corporation team of Tatanka, King Kong, Bundy, Bam Bam Bigelow, and the Heavenly Bodies, with only King Kong, Bundy, and Bam Bam. You won't gonna beat that dog. I'm sorry, trash. So the Allied Powers in 1995. In the beginning of 1995, Luger took part of the Royal Rumble main event. He eliminated Mabel, Bob Backlund. Man, that Royal Rumble was ass too. Trash. Minotaur, Henry Godwin, and became one of the final four remaining participants in the contest. However, he was pushed out of the ring by Shawn Michaels from behind while attacking Crush. It was Shawn Michaels shit, which I want me to do. Luger then formed a team with the British Bulldog, dubbed the Allied Powers. They made their first pay-per-view debut as a tag team at WrestleMania 11, defeating the Blue Brothers. They defeated Jobbers on Raw after victory over Man on Mission, King Maven Samoa in June 1995. They earned a shot at the WWF Tag Team titles against Yokozuna and Owen Hart at In Your House 2, the Lumberjacks, but failed to win the title. Shortly after SummerSlam, Luger, whose contract had expired in the WWF without letting McMahon know before it. Luger's last WWF match was on September in St. John's, New Bern, at a house show teaming with Shawn Michaels, defeating Owen Hart and Yokozuna by disqualification. This when he made the random appearance out of nowhere at WCW Nitro. Alright. It's gonna be a long video to edit, but it's all love. Returned to WCW from 1995 to 2001. In late 1995, after expressing to Sting he wanted to leave WWF, Luger got a call from Vice President Eric Bischoff to set up a meeting about a contract. Luger possibly jumping ship. Bischoff was reluctant to make the offer, as he did not care for Luger personally or professionally. Damn. But relentlessly due to both Sting urgent and the idea that his appearance would make a big splash. Bischoff offered Luger $150,000 a year, 20% of what he was making when he left WCW 3 years earlier. In a deliberate attempt to have him turn down the offer, according to Bischoff, at least it tells everything that I tried. Only to be surprised that Luger accepted the offer. Luger himself would later state that he had planned on resigning with the WWF on a 2-3 year extension, but saw a return to WCW as an opportunity to prove Dallas wrong about his ability to be a top star. And he made impact for sure. 8 days after his appearance in SummerSlam, one night after competing at the WWF house show at St. John, Luger made his return to WCW premiere of Nitro, coming out during the match of the United States Championship match between Sting and Ric Flair. After Luger returned, he did not make any alliances known, acting as a pure twinner, except for the fact that he still did have a long-term friendship with Sting. He merely claimed he wanted to stake his claim at Hogan WCW title, facing him on September 11, 1995, which Hogan won by disqualification. But at Halloween Havoc 1995, Luger attacked Hogan after his match with the Giant and joined Kevin Sullivan Dungeon of Doom stage. At Starrcade, Luger participated in the WCW versus New Japan World Cup Rational, where he represented WCW in a winning effort against New Japan representative Masa Chano. Later that night, he participated in a triangle match with Sting and Ric Flair, with the winner to face Randy Savage for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Flair won after both Sting and Luger was counted out. The two men teamed up to defeat the Harlem Heat for their first World Tag Team Championship on January 22nd, 1996 episode, when Luger constantly threatened distance due to his allegiance to the Dungeon of Doom, but always seeming to stay on the same path as his friend. He lost to Eddie Guerrero by disqualification on the February 3rd episode of Saturday Night. Luger also defeated Johnny B. Bad for the WCW Television Championship on February 17th, losing it back to him the next night. He regained the title from Bad by beating him on March 6th. The Dungeon of Doom aligned with the Four Horsemen to form an alliance to end Hulkamania, which feuded with Hulk Hogan and Luger former ally Randy Savage and Uncensored. That match was trash too. 9 members from the alliance participated in the Tower of Doom steel cage match, but were unsuccessful in defeating 2 men. You mean to tell me 9 dudes lost to 2 men, bro? Okay. Luger was blamed for the loss because he accidentally punched teammate Ric Flair and was kicked out of the stable. Then, of course, you had the feud with the NWO. You know what I'm saying? During this time, Luger began a feud with the Giant for the WCW Heavyweight Championship, challenging him at the Great American Bash. During this time, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, both WWF stars, began appearing on WCW television, claimed they taken over the company. Randy Savage spearheaded claimed that the WCW wrestlers against them. With Sting and Luger by his side, Luger along with Savage and Sting took on Nash and Hall, who called himself as the Outsiders. This one's like, who's gonna be the third man? You know what I'm saying? They said if Hogan didn't show up, it was supposed to be Sting. Hogan was the right choice, because Sting being heel at the time would have been weird. Sorry, Sting as a heel is weird. Period. So they took on them. The Outsiders, the third mystery partner, claimed that they was the Insiders at Bash at the Beach. In the first few minutes of the match, Luger went down in the kayfabe injury, leaving Sting and Savage on their own. But when the mystery partner revealed himself to be Hulk Hogan, with Luger nowhere around, Savage and Sting was easy prey for the men to announce themselves as the NWO. And took off like fish grease. So, here we go. Luger continued to be one of the leaders of the WCW siege against the NWO, wrestling feuding a number of the members at Super Brawl. Luger and the Giant defeated the Outsiders to win the WCW Tag Team Championships, but the titles will return to the Outsiders by NWO member and WCW President Eric Bischoff. So, Luger won a 4 corners match to become the #1 contender at Hulk Hogan WCW at Springs MP. This when Booker T had the conversation. Hulk Hogan, we coming for you! I ain't scared on here. But, you know. And then, they was around that controversy at the time. And then, and teamed up with his ally, the Giant, to defeat Hogan and basketball star Dennis Rodman at the Bash at the Beach on the August 4th. So, on August 4th, 1997, Luger defeated Hogan to win his second World Heavyweight Championship in an impromptu match. Now, I'm trying to see if I see a clip, because, you know, that Sting and Hogan feud was hot as fish grease, but around that time, I think they said Sting was mad that Luger won the title during that time, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure, but y'all let me know. Before, because, you know, that feud was so big, and they was building up, you know what I mean? You know, I think they said Sting was hot when Luger won that belt at the time. But, before dropping the title back against Hogan just 5 days later at Road Wild, his victory, however, marked the first time in the year that WCW had won the title back from the NWO. Then, of course, Luger began to have a program with Scott Hall after both men pinned each other in tag team matches. Luger partner Diamond Dallas Page and Hall partner Randy Savage before facing each other in a one-on-one match at Halloween Havoc, which Luger won. He had a short feud with Buff Bagwell in the fall of '97, culminating at Starrcade, which Bagwell won. In his first final feud at MWO was against Scott Steiner, who Luger defeated at an uncensored Spring Stampede. He teamed up with Scott's brother Rick Steiner to defeat Scott Steiner and Buff Bagwell. But after a long war with the NWO, Luger joined the NWO Wolfpack on May 25th, 1998. Luger played a certain role in the group, with a central role in the group with Hogan. NWO Hollywood even convinced the long-standing anti-NWO Sting to join. On the August 10, 1998 episode, he defeated Bret Hart to win his record-time 5th and final United States Championship in an impromptu match, before dropping the title back to Bret just 1 day later on Thunder. He also took part in an incident which both NWO factions against the dominant Bill Goldberg in early 1999. He remained a member of the new NWO until he remained a member of the NWO until he injured his bicep. I think Goldberg got hurt that year too, because you know they had a segment where Goldberg was hitting the limo, and Goldberg legitimately injured himself, you know what I'm saying? So that's why when you see Bill Goldberg on TV for a minute. Then, of course, the total package and Totally Buff. In 1999, Luger returned to Nitro doing a Sting Hogan angle for the World Heavyweight Championship. This was the angle where who trying to see who gonna turn on each other first, Sting or Hogan. You know what I'm saying? Because Hogan was the champ. You know, he had beat Randy Savage on Monday Nitro for the belt that year, and they were building towards Fall Brawl with Sting Hogan. You know what I'm saying? Could we trust the real Hulk Hogan? Because Hulk Hogan was saying he's the real Hulk. You know, he was back to my old self, and they thought Hogan was gonna turn. So he returned to Nitro doing a Hogan Sting angle for the World Heavyweight Championship. He eventually helped Sting win the World Heavyweight title at Fall Brawl. This one they were trying to push this Sting heel thing to the point, but after Luger claimed that Lex Luger was now dead, he was going by the total package. He debuted this gimmick on September 27th episode with a Terminator-style entry symbolizing his rebirth by bringing back current girlfriend, now Miss Elizabeth. Hey man, I don't know if him and Randy was close, but I can't go with my dog girl. I can't do that fool. It won't feel right if that was me personally. Whatever. But he brought her back as his manager. So on November 1st, on November 1st, 1999 Nitro, a fallout between Sting and Luger began when Luger expressed a desire for them to win the WCW tag titles. Again, Sting desired to continue pursuing the WCW World title, only for Luger, who was also pursuing the WCW World Championship in the same tournament. Sting was into a fake knee injury and refused to help Sting after Sting was attacked following the match. The two had for the WWE Tag Team title against Billy Kidman and Conan. Luger would then attack Sting following week in a match he had with Goldberg, which led to Sting attacking Luger in Luger's match with Sid Vicious. Sting would then defeat Luger in a quarterfinal match on November 5th, 1999, on the episode of Nitro. At WCW Mayhem, the fallout with Sting was completed when Luger attacked Sting during the match with Bret Hart. So I guess that's how Bret Hart won his championship match. The two would then feud. In addition, Luger began treating Elizabeth badly, which promoted Sting to interfere. You know what's funny? I read a comment before I, recorded this episode. We're gonna get to the part in a minute. And it was just so funny that I saw a comment, dude was like, she was mistreated in real life by two toxic men. Cause we know Randy Savage history, and then we know the history, which I'm gonna read to probably shortly, what happened. You know what I'm saying? My heart go out to Liz. And I'm gonna say this for my fellas, even for myself. Man, if you got something going on mentally, bro, go to therapy, bro. Get better, bro. Cause it might be some hearts out here that you break and people trust, you know what I'm saying, and you messed that up. And you gotta get better, you know what I'm saying? So it's just funny that I say that, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so Luger also began treating Elizabeth badly, which promoted Sting to interfere. However, at Starrcade December 1999, Sting and the Total Package had a match which saw Elizabeth turn on Sting and make it clear her alliance to Total Package. Luger continued his Total Package angle with Elizabeth through 2000. He began a storyline where he would break the arm of opponent by placing their arm in a steel chair, which was kind of good. I ain't no front. Now that I look, that was kind of dope. And stomping on it. In February 2000, he formed an alliance with Ric Flair to take out Hulk Hogan. They later formed a team name called Team Package. The team feuded with Sting and Hogan until April 2000 when Vince Russo formed the New Blood, causing Luger to join the Millionaires Club. He faced Booker T on November 20th, 2000 on the episode of Nitro for the WCW World title. And Goldberg at Mayhem, and again at 2000. So him and Goldberg faced at Mayhem and Starrcade, my bad, with Goldberg's career on the line. He formed a tag team with Buff Bagwell called Totally Buff. They defeated Goldberg and Dwayne Bruce in a tag team match at Sin in January 2001. Luger stayed with the team until WWF purchased WCW, and that's when WCW had closed. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about that. You know what I'm saying? He did appear in Wrestling All Stars and stuff like that. Of course, he was in TNA, for a minute. He had his late career appearances in WWF and stuff like that. But my boy did go through tragic though. You know what I'm saying? And he had a lot of legal problems. Here we go. The legal problems. On April 19, 2003, Luger was involved in a domestic dispute with Miss Elizabeth, then his girlfriend, in the garage of their townhouses in Morel, Georgia, during which Luger had allegedly struck her. So it make you think. Cause they said Randy was crazy too. I wonder if Randy heard too. It reminded me like of that R&B singer Tammy Terrell, what she went through with like James Brown them and stuff like that. Now, it's men, man, don't get me wrong, men, we have our issues and stuff like that, but I never hit no woman, man. If a woman want to leave and stuff like that, man, I ain't let, it's like, if you really love her, man, you gotta let her go. You know what I'm saying? I can see it now. It's been 3 weeks. Me and my girlfriend broke up. You know what I'm saying? My ex. I still love her. You know what I'm saying? But she did what she had to do, and I respect it. You know what I'm saying? Does it hurt? Hell yeah, dog. You know what I'm saying? No cap. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna sit here and cry about it. You know what I'm saying? All I can do is, man, take accountability and become a better part. You know what I'm saying? For shit, just for myself. You feel me? But for like, I'm gonna put my hands on you. I'm gonna beat you up, and I'm gonna come up to your job and do all that. I ain't finna do all that, man. Cause if I'm doing all that, I don't really love you. You know what I'm saying? Cause shit, that shit hurt. Yeah, it hurt. But man, I'm gonna put my hands on you. I'm gonna smack you, bro. I ain't finna do all that for you. It ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't worth my freedom. It ain't worth my mental health. It ain't worth my space. You know what I'm saying? If you messed up, pick yourself up, man. Get up. You know what I'm saying? It's alright. You know what I'm saying? But put my hands on a woman and shit, I ain't doing it, dog. So they got into it. They found Elizabeth with 2 bruised eyes, a bump on her head, a cut on her lip. Luger was charged with a misdemeanor and battery and released on $2,500. 2 days later, Luger was arrested for driving under influence after running in another car. According to the police, Luger had slurred speech and bloodshot eyes and could not locate his driver's license. Elizabeth, they got back together. See, and there's another thing too. I know a lot of folks like, why y'all don't get involved in folk business and da-da-da-da-da, because you don't know if them folk will get back together. You know what I'm saying? And why would I put myself in harm, danger, if I know she ain't gonna leave or he ain't gonna leave, and then let's say I get to fight with the nigga, he shoot me. You know what I'm saying? They were back together 2 days later. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's hard for people to walk away from this situation because they feel like that's not him. That's their protector, or she was there for me, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You never know what people going through mentally. You know what I'm saying? And that's the bottom line that I'm saying. You don't know what folks going through mentally. So that's why sometimes it's cool to get involved, be a friend, but then it's like you don't know because they got the better. They was together after the fact. You feel me? So you gotta think about that. So Luger had a slurred speech, bloodshot in his eyes, and could not locate his driver's license. Elizabeth was the passenger in his seat, and they were sent home in a taxi. Luger also was driving on a suspended license for not appearing in court on March 5th, 2003 for hearing on the previous offense of driving with expired tag and no having or whatever. So a month later, on May 1st, 2003, Elizabeth had died in a town home which she shared with Luger after mixing pills of hydrocodone and Xanax with vodka. Luger was arrested after a search of the residence revealed a number of controlled substances, including steroids, growth hormone, testosterone, and I can't pronounce that shit. He was charged with 14 counts of drug possession. He was later released on bail for $27,500. Her death was ruled accidental. Luger pleaded guilty to the charges and was fined $1,000 and sentenced to 5 years probation and undergo drug tests. R.I.P. to Miss Elizabeth. You know what I'm saying? And then of course, life caught up with him too. Spinal infection. So October 19, 1997, 2007, Luger suffered a nerve impingement in his neck that led to temporary paralysis. Nearly after a month after his spinal stroke, Luger was still, I can't even pronounce that, quadruple, but I don't know. But he had no movements in his arms and legs. In June 2008, Luger said to be able to stand on his own for a short period and use a walker. By 2014, Lex Luger was using a walker though he was still able to walk short distance. So by 2001, he became reliant on the wheelchair mobility. However, February 2025, after working with longtime friend DDP in yoga, doing the DDP yoga, Luger was able to stand from his wheelchair on his own. And it seemed like he had grown a lot too, you know what I'm saying? Because my boy became a Christian, you know what I'm saying? Found God, and he seemed more happy these days, you know what I'm saying? So more credit to him, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, sometimes life can humble you. You feel me? And if you really want, you know, cause Spain was Christian too. You know what I'm saying? So, life can happen to you. You know what I'm saying? Life can humble you. You know, and so that's why I say sometimes, like, if you repent or went through some stuff or whatever, you feel me? And you really change. That's all you can do is. Sometimes I learned it's hard to seek help, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't, especially, you feel like, you famous or whatever. I'm the man, I got money, I don't need no help, bro. You know what I'm saying? You feel like, man, all type of stuff, you feel me? But I'm glad that my man look happy these days, you know. He went through tragedy and stuff like that, you feel me? And, hey, shit, I'm proud of him. I don't even know the man, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully he really changed, you know what I'm saying? I don't know his relationship with him and the Lord, but he seemed like he in a better space than he was. And I see that my boy took responsibility for her death, you know what I'm saying? And I know that hurts, you know what I'm saying? To carry it, you know what I'm saying? Somebody you supposedly love and stuff like that, and they die in front of you, feel me? And you got all the steroids, the drugs, both y'all doing the drugs, you know what I'm saying? You know, but I hope he got his spirits up, you know what I'm saying? And forgive himself. Hopefully God forgave him, you feel me? Cause I can imagine it, man. Someone you love, you know, I'll protect these drugs. Ooh, man, and you look up, she knocked out. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? But my prayers go out to her too and her family. You know what I'm saying? Cause when I saw that coming dude said this morning, I was like, damn, she did deal with two toxic dudes, man. It's like, all right, better know you dealt with one, but then you deal with two. Like, it's like, you got dudes out here, man, okay, man, I'm toxic, I hurt her. But when you got dudes that, man, I'm toxic, I'm crazy, or whatever, just anybody, like, mother putting their hands on you, that's when you know somebody really went through some shit. You know what I'm saying? And, my prayers go out to her family, you know what I'm saying? Now that I look at it, I'm like, damn, she went through a lot with not only this business, but you went through a lot with two testosterone dudes, you know what I'm saying? You know, Randy was, you know what I'm saying? And you had Luger, man, they hard. You know what I'm saying? But man, just find God, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just focus on him, bro. Straight up, bro. Cause sometimes, shoot, I know me, I want to shake these demons off me. You feel me? Like, shake it off. Like the Taylor Swift, like, shake it off, all that. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, man, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I'm going to continue to give y'all fire content. I'm out. Peace.
Nathan Beats.